There is some serious heat of the Denver Broncos potentially drafting at least one of these three standout college players within the first three picks that they have in the draft. Now, the Broncos currently don't have a first round pick, but that means they're going to be getting a lot of their talent from the second and fourth rounds. But there is a new mock draft that we saw from the Broncos Wire page, our website, and this is what it looked like. In the second round, taking Eli Stowers. In the fourth, taking linebacker Torian York. And again, in the fourth round, taking offensive lineman Markel Bell out of Miami. And as you just saw in this intro video of those three college players, you may have noticed Markel Bell as a very big standout offensive lineman. I just have to say this right now. This dude is 6'9", massive. He is huge. And just that alone piques my interest just to have him as a backup, because that is a massive guy, kind of like a Trent Brown, how huge he is, or a Trent Williams, also a very big offensive lineman. Could show a lot of potential there. But in this video, I'm going to be going over potentially Eli Stowers, Torian York, and Markel Bell, their benefits, their cons maybe of taking them, and if the Broncos should select all three, if this is a good mock. We're going to get into that in this one. But before I get too far, I'd just like to say this video is presented to you by Prize Picks, the #1 sports picking app in America, okay? Make sure to click the link in the bio if you want to join Prize Picks today and use code DIGEST. Okay, it really helps the channel out and helps us continue making videos. But on with the rest of the video. So we got Eli Stowers, okay? Huge, good tight end out of Vanderbilt, a guy that is very popular on social media. Or with fans, I should say, maybe not with social media, just a guy that's popular amongst fans because he's shown a lot of potential. Arguably the best tight end in this class. Kenyon Sadiq seems to have everyone's nod, but I really like Eli Stowers. He's kind of a good, like a bigger gadget guy that can also catch good in the red zone. These are his stats from college. As you can see there, he actually played quarterback for 2 years, once with Texas A&M, another time with New Mexico State. Not really. I guess you can't really say quarterback with Texas A&M. He played 2 games. Didn't have any attempts. It doesn't see. Oh, these are receiving attempts. Well, they have him listed as a quarterback with Texas A&M and New Mexico State, while not including his passing yards. I thought that was something that was in there. Regardless of the fact, New Mexico State, he's listed as a quarterback, has over 300 receiving yards, and then at Vanderbilt played tight end. So he has experience playing quarterback as well, which is something I can see Sean Payton totally loving, because we all remember Taysom Hill with the New Orleans Saints, played some quarterback, played some tight end, played some punt returner, played some special teams, whatever they needed Taysom Hill to do. Eli Stowers is a similar guy. Now, he didn't have 1,000 yards last season. That's kind of typical in a college year, but 4 touchdowns, 769 yards, a guy that can catch the ball. He had 62 receptions. I really would love to add him to the team. I'm actually surprised he didn't get more rushes with Vanderbilt the more I'm looking at it, because he really is a guy that could get an end around. He can catch screens. He can go deep downfield. A guy that can really do it all. I love Eli Stowers to the Denver Broncos. It makes a ton of sense, especially if we're keeping Evan Ingram. You need another tight end probably for next season, because let's just be honest, Evan Ingram may not be the tight end for the Denver Broncos. But if Evan Ingram does perform, he does play amazing well, oh well, then we have 2 good receiving tight ends, and on top of that, Adam Trautman, one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL. All of a sudden, you have the best tight end room in the league. So either way, I think there's no reason the Broncos shouldn't be all in on Eli Stowers. And then you also have Torian York, a linebacker that, again, a very popular guy. He went to Texas A&M all 3 years of his career, had 73 combined tackles last season. He had a sack, 3 passes deflected. He had a fumble recovery. Nothing insane stat-wise. He's forced 1 fumble in his career, and that's okay. He's just a linebacker that can cover well. It's a guy that, obviously these guys, this is a guy that's projected to be in the 4th round. He's not going to be a superstar. He's not projected to be a superstar, but a guy that is very popular in draft boards. I've seen go in the 3rd round in some mock drafts. So the fact that if the Broncos can get him in the 4th is something that would be nice, because the Broncos, again, most likely, this 4th actually would be earlier if this is Miami's 4th. So a guy that I think Broncos could definitely use, a good coverage linebacker, a guy like Alex Singleton and Justin Strnad both kind of struggled in coverage when it came to guarding tight ends and guarding running backs, but a guy like Torian York could potentially develop in Denver, sit behind those guys, because again, Alex Singleton did get that contract, but not a guy that I would consider the future of the linebacking position for the Denver Broncos. I would see that more with Justin Strnad and Drew Sanders, but a guy like Torian York could also be that. We need a better athlete at the linebacker position, and he easily would be that for the Broncos. A guy that's fast, a guy that can cover. I would love to add York to the Denver Broncos as well. This is one of the best mock drafts I've seen. And now the final pick here in the 4th round that was talked about was Markel Bell. Now, he doesn't have a lot of stats because he's an offensive lineman, but I did see this from the NFL website providing his strengths and weaknesses. So we're going to go over it for Markel Bell, the 6'9" offensive tackle out of Miami. Some of his strengths include a unique size and massive wingspan, basically what I've been glazing him about today. Made noticeable strides from 2024 to 2025. That's always a good sign. He's making strides. He's not declining, which means you'd assume from 2025 to 2026, going into the NFL, he could take another massive step and continue to develop and kind of go against those weaknesses that we're potentially going to talk about. Uproots and moves 3 techniques when running feet on double teams. Uses mass to cover and obstructs on base blocks. So again, he's good at using his mass. Does a nice job of maintaining length and advantage with his timing. That's kind of the same thing. Collects and controls rush with a strong grip. He's a strong guy, makes sense. Rare for rushers to crowd into his frame. He's good at keeping guys at a distance, not letting them get into his chest and push him back. However, some of his weaknesses include speedy edge rushers will be tough for him to match in the future because he's probably a slower offensive lineman. He needs a former and more proactive punch instead of catching you in pass pro. Okay. Struggles to properly mirror inside moves and spin counters, something that he just maybe needs to see more of in a practice, which he definitely would with Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper. High center of gravity creates a constant leverage disadvantage. Yeah, that's definitely true. Lurches past his base, creating imbalance as a run blocker. So he's definitely a stronger pass protector than he is a run blocker. And if we had to pick one, we probably need a better run blocker. But I'm all in on Markel Bell just from how humongous he is. And again, these are things, everything of his weaknesses seem like things that can be taught, being better at guarding speed rushers, being better in run blocking, needs better first step quickness, makes sense with how big he is. Below average agility, which again makes sense for a 6'9" offensive lineman. These weaknesses don't really stand out to me as a huge detriment to me. It's kind of all attributed to his size and something that can be taught at the NFL level, especially with NFL offensive line coaches, and he's going to get practice with other offensive linemen that are great. And also the fact that he'd be going up, now he's not going to go up against Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper in practice because again, he's a backup, or he would be a backup. He's still going to go against Jonah Ellis, K. Robinson, potentially Von Miller if he returns, or Cam Jordan, or he'll get his reps in with good pass rushers and guys that are speedy. So something that he can definitely be developed on. This might be my favorite pick of the 3. Markel Bell is a guy that I would love to go get and add to the Denver Broncos. Now, of course, you can't always get who you want. There's a couple other guys that I think the Broncos could be all in on further in this draft. But before we dive into those really quickly, again, this video is presented to you by Prize Picks. So here are 3 picks. Now, the NFL season is over, but the Colorado Avalanche are playing tonight. So here are 3 of my picks that I like for tonight's game against the Calgary Flames, which I am actually going to be attending tonight. Now, I've got a Lehkonen goal, Lehkonen point, a Gabriel Landeskog point, and a Blake Coleman goal. Now, we've seen the Avalanche kind of struggle lately against these bad teams, but we absolutely decimated the Flames the last time we played them. I think it was 9-2, but I highly expect this game to be another high-scoring game. I do see the Avs giving up a couple goals, and I think Blake Coleman for the Flames is going to be that one, but Landeskog to get a point, I really like that one, and Lehkonen, I think he'll just get a goal, so giving him a point straight up is what I like here. So I like these picks more than 0.5 points for Artturi Lehkonen, more than 0.5 points for Gabriel Landeskog, and more than 0.5 goals for Blake Coleman, which basically means all of them need a point except Coleman. I want him to get a goal. But diving into the couple players that I wanted to talk about before I wrap up this video, one of them being Ur Bernard. If you haven't heard of them, he's a defensive tackle that has never played a rep of football, but he's in the International Pathways program. We talked about him in a video, the previous video on this channel, but a guy that I really want to get. He has Aaron Gordon's leap, his Aaron Gordon's vertical. This guy, Ur Bernard, is absolutely insane. I want the Broncos to go get him in the 7th round. Another guy would be Josh Wuru, another guy in the international program that showed a lot of athleticism. I really want the Broncos to go get athletes, these raw talents, because the Broncos right now are in a position where they can do that. They don't need to draft guys that they desperately need. They don't have a lot of holes on the roster, maybe except for tight end, backup linebacker. But aside from that, they should just be going for raw athletes that they can develop and have high potential, high ceilings. They don't need high floor guys. They need guys that can be absolute superstars, but not right now. guys that can be superstars in the future, which is why an Ur Bernard, Josh Weru, Markel Bell could be a star in the future. Torian York, another guy that can be a star in the future. Now, Eli Stowers is going to be a current star. He's going to be a star quickly. But all those other guys that we've mentioned today are all guys that can be stars in the future. But that's going to be it for me in this one. So make sure to subscribe to not miss any Denver Broncos content, okay? We're going to be talking a lot about draft visits, mock drafts leading up to the draft. Again, it's in about 15 days. So very looking forward to that one. Right now, we don't have a first round pick, but you never know. Still got to watch the first round because the Broncos easily could trade back into it. So make sure to subscribe to not miss any Broncos content, draft related, OTAs, training camp, and then the regular season is going to be here before you know it. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. Until next time, Broncos country, let's ride.